to Brussels, where, according to football's Michael Gove, the final whistle has blown and the Prime Minister has won. The managers safe for another week, then. Unfortunately, Arlene Foster has been brought in as Director of Football. Still, this is probably my favorite Gove reaction shot since he said of Theresa May's coughed-out conference speech horror show, "I thought it was a fantastic conference speech from a Prime Minister at the top of her game." Luckily, Gove doesn't have a reputation for self-deluding treachery, or the Prime Minister would be watching her back right about now. Also paying May a compliment she couldn't refuse was Boris Johnson, who on Friday morning congratulated her and looked forward to remaining true to the referendum result, taking back control of our laws, money and borders for the whole of the UK. Yup, there's still everything to slay for. I can't help feeling Davis is just the territorial DEXO secretary. He does do detail, but only every third weekend. The upshot, for now, seems to be that the magical thinking on the Irish border is going to be allowed to continue for a bit longer. Even so, the tone of the European Commission President, Jean-Claude Juncker, in his joint press conferences with May, is always akin to the one Jose Mourinho might adopt toward the manager of a League One side his reserves have just knocked out in the FA Cup fourth round. "She's a tough opponent, she doesn't make it easy for them." Friday morning's post-match interview was stagily gracious to someone who clearly hasn't troubled the EU's defences for so much as 30 seconds. For her part, May's claim that the process hasn't been easy for either side was confirmation that at any stage, it would have been perfectly safe for the keeper to have popped round the back of the net to have a fag and do a sudoku. Obviously, not everyone is pretending to be happy. Pan-Twitter-in-chief is Nigel Farage, Britain's biggest comeback seeker, who persists in seeing himself as a Terminator figure when he's actually just Norma Desmond. Much as he must be enjoying graveyard appearances on Fox News and endorsing alleged pedophiles for Steve Bannon, Farage is comically desperate to be back in politics. "A deal in Brussels is good news for Mrs. May," he spat, "as we can now move on to the next phase of humiliation. I love the idea that a man who conceded then unconceded defeat twice at his own referendum night party would have the nerve, let alone the brain, to do any better." Even so, Farage's underlying point is instructive because it's one becoming more widespread among hardline Brexiteers. Namely, Brexit would be amazing except it's being done wrong. Advocates of this view remind me of those people who think the primary problem with communism is just that it wasn't done right by the Soviets.